Africa's mineral wealth has long been spoken about in whispers, reports, and economic forecasts. But rarely does it dominate headlines like it is today, especially in a landlocked country you may not have heard much about, Burkina Faso. Beneath the dusty plains and sparse settlements, a quiet revolution is unfolding. A revolution powered by lithium, the metal that fuels our smartphones, laptops, and electric vehicles. And this small West African nation is suddenly at the center of a global race for the energy of the future. For decades, Burkina Faso remained on the periphery of the global mining industry, overshadowed by larger African producers. But recent discoveries and investments have sparked a lithium boom that experts are calling one of the fastest in modern history. Mines that once produced negligible quantities are now transforming into operations capable of feeding the world's insatiable demand for lithium. At first glance, it looks simple: dig, extract, sell. But the story is far more complex. Behind the extraction lies a delicate balance of geopolitics, environmental concerns, labor dynamics, and foreign investment. Every ton of lithium pulled from the ground carries weight far beyond its value in the global market. It carries influence, opportunity, and sometimes risk. Foreign investors are arriving in droves. China, Europe, and North America are all watching closely, seeking stakes in mines and supply chains that could define the electric vehicle revolution for decades. Meanwhile, local companies and communities are learning to navigate this sudden influx of capital, negotiating deals that could either empower the nation or leave it vulnerable. The surge has already begun reshaping the region. Roads are being built to connect remote mining sites. Power infrastructure is expanding. Local economies, once struggling, now experience pockets of rapid growth. But with opportunity comes challenge. Questions of sustainability, fair labor, and environmental impact loom over every development. How do you extract a metal vital for a clean energy future without leaving behind scars on the land or society? And yet, amid all the challenges, there's innovation. Startups and local entrepreneurs are exploring ways to add value beyond extraction: battery production, processing plants, and even partnerships in electric vehicle manufacturing. Burkina Faso is no longer just a supplier. It's positioning itself as a player in the entire lithium ecosystem. For the world watching, the stakes are high. Lithium prices are volatile. Demand is surging. And any disruption, political instability, regulatory delays, or logistical challenges can ripple across global industries. In other words, what happens here doesn't stay here. It impacts supply chains in Shanghai, Frankfurt, and Detroit alike. And yet, for those on the ground, life continues as it always has. Children go to school. Farmers tend fields between mining operations. And in quiet moments, the scale of what is unfolding sometimes only hits in glimpses: the transformation of a nation into a strategic hub for the technology powering the future. But as investment accelerates and the race for control intensifies, one question hangs over Burkina Faso like a shadow. Can this lithium boom truly benefit the country and its people, or will it simply enrich foreign powers while leaving the land and communities behind? The answer isn't simple, and the story is just beginning. The answer is far from straightforward. Each mine tells a different story. In some regions, communities are thriving, local businesses supplying services to the growing workforce, and schools seeing new investment. In others, disputes over land rights and resource ownership reveal the fragile balance between opportunity and exploitation. Foreign companies dominate much of the extraction technology, bringing in advanced machinery and expertise, but often leaving local laborers in subordinate roles. Negotiations over royalties and taxation are tense, and every agreement is scrutinized, both locally and internationally, for fairness and transparency. Meanwhile, environmental concerns are growing louder. Lithium extraction isn't clean. The process consumes vast amounts of water, alters landscapes, and, if poorly managed, can disrupt agriculture and wildlife. Burkina Faso faces a critical challenge: how to harness this boom responsibly, ensuring that economic growth does not come at the cost of ecological disaster. Innovation is emerging as a solution. Local engineers and entrepreneurs are experimenting with more sustainable extraction methods, attempting to process lithium closer to source rather than shipping raw minerals abroad. Small-scale battery assembly plants are starting to appear, offering a glimpse at a future where the country participates not just in raw resource export, but in the value-added energy economy. International attention is growing as well. Governments and investors are now monitoring not only production levels, but also the governance of these operations. Ethical sourcing, transparency, and compliance with environmental standards are becoming non-negotiable pressures that Burkina Faso must navigate carefully to secure long-term benefits. And yet, the excitement is tangible. In mining towns, you can see it in the hustle of workers moving equipment, in the increasing presence of technology and connectivity, and in the entrepreneurial energy of those seeking to tap into the new economy. But the biggest challenge looms over everything: how to turn a temporary boom into sustainable national development. The world may watch the lithium leaving Burkina Faso, but the country's true victory will be measured in whether it can retain wealth, build infrastructure, and empower communities while the rush for lithium continues unabated. And so, the boom is both a promise and a test, a chance to rewrite Burkina Faso's role in the global energy revolution, one carefully negotiated deal, one innovative project, and one responsible mine at a time. And as the lithium boom unfolds, a subtle but profound transformation begins to take shape, not just in mines, but in the hearts and minds of the people. Young students, once dreaming of leaving for the cities or overseas, now see opportunity in science, engineering, and energy technology right at home. Vocational schools are introducing programs in mining technology, battery assembly, and renewable energy systems, feeding the emerging industry with skilled local talent. Local entrepreneurs are finding niches beyond extraction. They are building supply chains for equipment maintenance, transportation logistics, and housing for workers. Cafes, markets, and services for mining towns spring up almost overnight, creating microeconomies that ripple outward. In towns that were once quiet and overlooked, there is now vibrancy, ambition, and optimism. At the same time, global investors continue to circle, bringing both capital and scrutiny. Every decision, the depth of a mine, the route of a transport road, the terms of a processing contract, is watched and analyzed. International media occasionally highlights disputes or environmental concerns, keeping pressure on both the government and companies to balance profit with responsibility. Yet, despite these pressures, innovation continues. Burkina Faso's engineers are experimenting with hybrid extraction techniques that reduce water usage, limit soil disruption, and recycle chemical byproducts. Early pilot projects in battery assembly aim to capture more of the value chain locally, ensuring that wealth is not simply exported in the form of raw lithium. The country is learning quickly that this boom is more than minerals in the ground. It's a test of governance, foresight, and adaptability. Will Burkina Faso rise as a leader in responsible lithium production, or will short-term gains and external pressures dominate? Meanwhile, every truck leaving the mines carries a story beyond its cargo, stories of families, of towns awakening to new possibilities, of a continent demonstrating it can play a critical role in the energy revolution. And as the world's demand for lithium continues to accelerate, the spotlight on Burkina Faso grows brighter. Investors, policymakers, and environmentalists alike watch, each with their own agenda, but all recognizing the strategic weight of this small West African nation in the global energy future. The lithium boom is no longer just about metal. It's about power, economic, social, and technological, and whether Burkina Faso can wield it wisely will shape not just its future, but potentially the global energy landscape for decades to come. And the story doesn't stop at economics or infrastructure. It reaches into the daily lives of ordinary people. In villages near the mines, farmers adjust their routines to balance traditional agriculture with mining opportunities. Local markets bustle with goods brought in by new roads, and families see education, healthcare, and communication improve as investment trickles down. Even small changes, a reliable cell tower, a solar-powered clinic, a school with computer labs, signal that the lithium boom is reshaping society from the ground up. Yet, with growth comes tension. Disputes over land rights flare in some regions, as ancestral claims collide with modern extraction permits. Environmental monitoring teams warn of water table depletion and soil contamination if certain methods are scaled too quickly. Every decision is a negotiation between progress and preservation, profit and responsibility. Meanwhile, the global stage watches keenly. Automotive giants and battery manufacturers begin direct partnerships with Burkina Faso-based companies, exploring ways to secure long-term supply chains. Governments, NGOs, and trade organizations weigh in on regulations, export taxes, and sustainability standards. The nation's choices ripple far beyond its borders, influencing pricing, availability, and even geopolitics. Innovation accelerates at the intersection of necessity and opportunity. Local engineers refine extraction processes to reduce waste and energy consumption. Small-scale battery assembly plants emerge, signaling the potential for value-added manufacturing. Entrepreneurs explore logistics solutions that allow lithium to move efficiently and responsibly to processing hubs, keeping more wealth circulating locally. The boom, however, is a race against time. Global demand is soaring, and the pressure to scale quickly is immense. Burkina Faso faces the challenge of balancing rapid growth with governance, sustainability, and social equity. A single misstep, regulatory lapse, environmental disaster, or exploitative practice could jeopardize decades of progress. But amid the challenges, optimism persists. The country's youth are learning, adapting, and innovating. Communities are finding new revenue streams while retaining cultural ties. And investors, both foreign and domestic, increasingly recognize that long-term stability and local engagement are as valuable as the lithium itself. What's unfolding here is more than a mining boom. It's a national experiment in harnessing natural wealth responsibly while participating in a global technological revolution. And as Burkina Faso navigates this delicate balance, one truth becomes increasingly clear. This is a story about people, power, and possibility, not just minerals. The lithium rush continues, and so does the transformation, quietly, steadily, and with stakes that reach far beyond the borders of this small West African nation. And as the transformation unfolds, a new layer emerges: regional influence. Neighboring countries begin to take note, exploring partnerships, infrastructure projects, and trade agreements that could leverage Burkina Faso's growing role in the lithium market. The nation is no longer isolated. It is becoming a critical node in West Africa's emerging energy landscape. Government officials are under pressure to act decisively. Policies around mining rights, labor regulations, and environmental oversight are being refined in real time, often influenced by global investors and domestic stakeholders alike. Every choice carries weight, for missteps could slow investment, trigger disputes, or spark international criticism. At the same time, civil society grows more active. Community leaders, environmental groups, and advocacy organizations are beginning to participate in dialogues around mining projects. Public hearings, forums, and social campaigns ensure that the boom isn't just dictated by corporations, but is shaped by the people who live alongside these developments. The startup mentality is contagious. Local engineers, inspired by both the global demand for lithium and the resources flowing into the country, are experimenting with processing technologies, sustainable extraction methods, and even battery assembly innovations. Some pilot programs aim to capture more of the value chain within Burkina Faso, reducing reliance on exporting raw minerals and creating higher-paying jobs. Even culturally, change is visible. Stories of young innovators, entrepreneurs, and technicians begin circulating on social media and local news, highlighting the human face of the boom. These narratives shift perceptions. Burkina Faso is no longer just a resource supplier. It is becoming a place of opportunity, skill, and ingenuity. But the tension never fully disappears. With every ton of lithium shipped abroad, questions linger. Are communities receiving fair compensation? Is the environment being preserved? Can governance keep pace with the speed of global demand? And yet, through all these uncertainties, one fact remains undeniable. Burkina Faso is now a central player in the global energy revolution. Its lithium may power electric cars in Shanghai, grid systems in Berlin, and consumer electronics in New York. But the real power lies in how the nation navigates this unprecedented moment. The boom is far from over. Roads are still being built, mines are still being developed, and innovation continues to ripple through schools, startups, and communities. Each day writes a new chapter in a story that blends geology, technology, society, and ambition. And while the world watches the metal leaving Burkina Faso, the country itself is quietly building its future, one mine, one policy, and one innovation at a time. And now, the story reaches its cinematic pause, not with finality, but with a clear sense of possibility. Burkina Faso's lithium boom is no longer just about the metal beneath the soil. It's about people, innovation, and national potential. Every mine, every road, and every investment carries lessons about governance, sustainability, and long-term growth. The nation faces challenges, environmental pressures, regulatory hurdles, and the weight of global scrutiny, but it also holds an unprecedented opportunity to transform natural wealth into lasting prosperity. Communities are learning to adapt, entrepreneurs are creating new industries, and engineers are pioneering solutions that could redefine Africa's role in the energy revolution. The country is not just exporting lithium, it is exporting possibility, knowledge, and ambition. For the world, Burkina Faso is a supplier of one of the most coveted resources of our time. For its people, it is a laboratory of the future, a place where bold decisions, innovation, and resilience could chart a new path not only for energy, but for the continent itself. The lithium rush continues. The transformation continues. And the story, though paused here, is far from over. The future of Burkina Faso and the global energy landscape is being written one decision, one innovation, and one community at a time.